I love BJJ because I love BJJ because it's hard. I was introduced to Jiu-Jitsu in like the early days of my life. My dad was already training since I was born. So I pretty much grew up playing around on the mats and learning how to do all the warm-ups. I knew what was a rear naked choke before I probably knew how to ride the letter 8. My dad was the first person in my city to start a kids program in a social project back in the day. I remember being just so excited to be doing that with my dad, you know, like to be able to learn from him, to be able to impress him. At the time, that was all that I was about. Anything that I would do was really to make my dad. Me and my dad, we went everywhere around the world after that. So it's been a great, it was one of the greatest feelings I ever had, you know, like, and I do have saved in the top of my mind, like that's where I came from, you know. We started very small and being here today is a great blessing. We started a program with Venom here, and you know, this is probably like one of the most beautiful gyms in America, I believe so, if not in the world. So when he saw everything from close, like it was the first time that my dad came and I could see the difference, like on the way he was talking to me. He knows me better than anyone else, you know, besides my wife now, because my wife knows from a very close, and she also trains. So she would beat me up, but he also squeezed me every time he comes by, so it's good fun. And when I moved here, it wasn't like I was going to move and stay here. I wanted to come here for like 3 months, you know, find a place to sleep, and I'm gonna train, and I hope I can find someone who can coach me, and I'll get where I wanna get. And that's how I ended up in Vegas, met my wife, never went back home. I came here with $400, and those $400 went away very fast, and my wife really, you know, I'm not shy to say that, she helped me a lot, and we drilled a lot, we dreamed together. 3 months later, she was in the finals of the Worlds, semifinals of the Open. I was in the finals of the Worlds. She took silver and bronze. I took gold for the first time, and I couldn't leave after that. Once you start achieving things that you always wanted to achieve, it gets harder and harder to get to that feeling again, you know, because whenever you have a first, anything that is a first always is like that. I'm always in a different, I'm always changing my mind of like, oh, and what else? And what else I want to do now? So I feel like starting to teach was something that motivated me. It's very similar and completely different. So it's like, they will watch me competing all the time, and they will copy my stuff, and I think it's super sick. Like when I watch that, it's super cool to see the kids trying to do cartwheels and stuff. But what really makes me happy is when they actually hit those super basic moves that we work daily, and then within a month or so, you see them actually using those things, you know. So when they listen, it's really like, anytime they listen and they use the move or the move of the day, those are the moments that I'm always excited to see, you know. It's not really the impressive moves or the flying armbursts. Competing more in no-gi motivated me. Coming back to the gi and having to catch up to everything that I left behind for a bit, and then having to, you know, like look at the situation, but like, you know what, I'm not gonna give myself an excuse. I'm gonna train as hard as I can. I'm gonna fight as hard as I can. We have 95% of jiu-jitsu training in the gi. You know, we have 5% of jiu-jitsu training no gi. Things are changing, man. I feel like the younger guys coming up, not just me, but like people like Kainan Duarte, Mikey Musumeci, they are pushing the pace. They're making the thing look good, you know, and that's all. That's how we can know where things are heading to, you know. And we feel like we're heading in a good place, but let's make it happen. Let's show you guys why the gi. Let's make the gi great again. You know, you cannot run away from it. That's why I feel like people cannot stop. If you have that mentality of overcoming the situation, you will always be motivated. You know, you always can't find a reason for motivation. You want to find an excuse, you're always gonna find one. So I'm 23 years old. This year I'll be turning 24, but I've been training forever. I feel like, at least like since I was born. So I want to be a world champion, right? But we have so many world champions out there. So many people have done. I want to make a difference. So if I'm to be remembered about something, I want to be remembered by who I was, what I represented. An organization that will help kids to never have to struggle like I struggled growing up in my head and being like, oh, this might be my last shot. I don't have money to go to the United States all the time to compete. Like, it was so hard to get here. I had to sell raffles, I had to work, I had to do this and that. Like, or their parents are not educated enough to teach them and be like, hey, you know, keep fighting for your dreams no matter what. They'll be like, hey man, you better start working and help me to pay the bills, you know? And then that's when people stop. And I don't feel like that's fair, because we only live once. And you only have like so much time to live from sport. So the reason why I love jiu-jitsu is because it's something so cool to do, and at the same time, something really hard to do. And anything that I learned on the mats, I can definitely translate to outside, you know. I do believe in God, and I feel like jiu-jitsu helped me, is the way that God chose me to learn about life. I feel like I love jiu-jitsu because of that, because it's hard and because it brings us close to people, and that's what I love to do. That's the best thing I can do, and there's nothing I want to do more, so it's hard.